Taylor Swift's rise from nothing to superstar is actually insane.
This has been the most extraordinary experience of my entire life.
Taylor Swift was born on December 13, 1989, in Reading, Pennsylvania. She grew up in a small town called Wyomissing on a Christmas tree farm.
17 years of music. How does that sound?
Her life at the start was calm, quiet, and very normal. Her dad worked in finance, and her mom stayed home at first, taking care of Taylor and her younger brother, Austin. As a kid, Taylor was shy, like really shy. She wasn't the loud one in the room, but something changed when she started performing. The moment she stood on the stage, that shyness disappeared. It was like music gave her a voice she didn't have in regular life. She loved stories, she loved words. Before music, she wrote poems. She wrote little stories, she paid attention to feelings, even small ones. Stuff most kids would ignore. She remembered, and that became important later. Her parents noticed early that Taylor was different. Not in a bad way, she just had this strong focus. When she liked something, she went all in. And when she discovered music, it was over. That became her whole world. Taylor didn't just like music, she was obsessed with it. She started singing at local events, fairs, and talent shows. Anywhere they would let her hold a microphone, she was there. One day, a computer repairman came to their house and taught her a few guitar chords. That moment changed everything. Once she learned guitar, she didn't stop. She practiced constantly, and instead of just covering songs, she started writing her own. By the age of 12, Taylor was already writing full songs. Not joke songs, real songs. Songs about crushes, friendships, feeling left out, and feeling misunderstood. She wrote exactly how she felt, without trying to sound cool or grown up. Country music clicked with her because it was all about storytelling. Simple stories, real feelings, and she realized something very early that most artists don't realize. Writing your own songs means you control your story. Moving to Nashville was not a small decision. Taylor was still a kid, but her family treated her dreams seriously. They packed up and relocated to their center of country music, not knowing if anything would actually work out. That move alone separated her from thousands of people who only dream but never act. Once in Nashville, reality hit fast. Record labels weren't impressed by age or effort. She heard no again and again. Some executives liked her voice but wanted her to sing songs written by adults. Others said she was too young to understand the industry. Taylor refused to give up control. Writing her own songs mattered to her more than fame. She believed that if she didn't tell her story, someone else would twist it. She performed anywhere she could. She walked Broadway Street playing guitar. She handed out demo CDs herself. She studied how labels worked, how publishing worked, how artists lost power. At just 14, she signed a songwriting deal and became the youngest songwriter ever signed to Sony. She wasn't famous yet, but she was learning something more valuable: how to survive the industry before it tried to use her. Taylor's first record deal didn't come from a giant label, it came from a new one. Big Machine's record barely existed at the time. No fancy offices, no big guarantees, just belief. In 2006, Taylor released her debut album, Taylor Swift. It didn't try to sound grown up or perfect, it sounded honest. That's why it worked. Songs like Tim McGraw felt personal. They sounded like diary pages turned into music. Teenage listeners didn't just hear the songs, they recognized themselves in them. Taylor did something different from most artists. She talked directly to fans online. She replied to messages, she remembered names, she made people feel like they mattered, not like numbers. She toured constantly, small venues, long drives, opening slots. Every show was a chance to prove she belonged. The album slowly climbed charts, but more importantly, her fan base became loyal. These weren't casual listeners. These were people emotionally invested in her journey. Taylor wasn't chasing attention, she was building trust, and that trust became her strongest weapon. When Fearless came out, everything changed. This wasn't just a successful album, it was a takeover. Songs like Love Story and You Belong With Me played everywhere. Country radio, pop radio, school dances, car rides, she was unavoidable. For the first time, Taylor crossed fully into the mainstream. And people didn't just listen, they connected. The songs felt like real emotions put into simple words. Then, the Grammys happened. Taylor won Album of the Year. She became the youngest artist ever to win that award. Overnight, she went from rising star to global fame. But fame came with pressure. Expectations exploded, mistakes were no longer small, everything she did was judged. Still, Taylor did what she always did. She wrote. Instead of explaining herself in interviews, she turned moments into music. She let songs speak for her. Fearless didn't just make her famous, it proved something important. Honesty could compete with anything, even in the biggest spotlights. As Taylor's fame grew, so did criticism. The media stopped focusing on her writing and started focusing on her personal life. Every relationship became a deadline. Every breakup became a joke. People reduced her work to gossip. Then came the moment at the VMAs when Kanye West interrupted her speech. In seconds, Taylor went from celebrating to being humiliated on a global stage.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
That moment changed how she saw fame. She learned that the public opinion can flip instantly. That silence doesn't always protect you, and that being kind doesn't mean being safe. Instead of falling apart publicly, Taylor turned inward. She became more careful, more controlled. She stopped sharing everything. Most importantly, she wrote. She learned how to respond through music instead of reacting emotionally. This was the chapter where Taylor stopped being just a talented artist and started becoming mentally strong. She understood that the industry now, and she wasn't naive anymore. Taylor refused to stay comfortable. With albums like Red, she began experimenting with sound, country mixed with pop, sad songs mixed with big hits. She was testing her limits. Then, 1989 came out, and it was a full transformation. This wasn't accidental. Taylor planned everything. The sound, the look, the timing. She committed fully to pop music, knowing some fans would leave. But instead of losing people, she gained millions. She treated each album like a chapter of her life. Different emotions, different visuals, different energy. These became known as eras, and no artist had done it like her before. She proved something important here. Evolving doesn't mean abandoning who you are. It means growing in public without apologizing. Taylor wasn't chasing trends anymore. She was setting them. Then came the biggest fight of her career. Ownership. Taylor lost control of her master recordings, the songs she wrote, the moments she lived. They were sold without her consent. Instead of staying quiet, she spoke up. She explained how the industry works and how artists often lose control of their own work. But her real move was strategic. She decided to re-record her albums, song by song, carefully, legally, and powerfully. Taylor's version became more than music. It became education. Fans learned about masters, about ownership, about control. The re-recordings succeeded beyond expectations. Fans streamed them on purpose. All songs felt new again. Taylor turned a business loss into a historic win, and in doing so, she changed how artists think about power forever. By the time the Eras Tour began, Taylor Swift wasn't just popular, she was dominant. The tour broke records everywhere. Cities felt the impact, hotels sold out, local businesses benefited. It became an economic event, not just a concert. Fans from every era showed up together. Old listeners, new listeners, different generations, all in one place. Streaming numbers went crazy. Albums returned to #1. Her catalog moved like it was brand new. Taylor learned how to protect her private life while still staying connected to fans. She shared what mattered and guarded what didn't. At this point, she wasn't reacting to the industry anymore. She was controlling her narrative completely. Few artists ever reached this level. Fewer maintain it. Taylor did both. Taylor Swift's story isn't about luck or timing. It's about ownership, patience, and refusing to let other people decide your value. She proved that writing honestly builds longevity, that evolving is necessary, that power comes from understanding the system, not fighting blindly against it. Her influence goes beyond music. She changed conversations about artists' rights, fan loyalty, and creative control. Taylor didn't rush success, she built it layer by layer, album by album, decision by decision. Her legacy isn't just hit songs or sold out tours. It's the blueprint she left behind. And that's why her story matters. Because it shows that consistency, control, and self-belief can outlast any trend.